Hi everyone, welcome to Brandibay Fashion. I'm so thrilled to have you back. Today, we're diving into the Paul Smith Spring-Summer 2027 show in Milan. And let me tell you right away, this collection pulls off a masterstroke that many attempt but never quite manage. It takes the men's suit, that historical symbol of structure, and completely strips it of its authority to tell a story of true metamorphosis. I usually struggle with dusty tributes, but I find that this lightness works incredibly well. On the guest seats, you find beach pebbles collected one by one. The stage is set. Can you really imagine a man in a three-piece suit walking on the sand without looking ridiculous? That is exactly the wager of this show. We are transported to a British beach from another era, under a soft, almost nostalgic light. A retro holiday vibe where formal wear finally embraces the great outdoors. To understand the approach, you have to listen to Paul Smith sharing his memories backstage. He started with old black and white family photos. You see his grandfather on the beach, wearing a jacket, tie, and hat. Back then, a suit wasn't an office uniform or a symbol of power. It was just everyday clothing worn simply to live in. It's this ambitious approach that guides the collection, restoring the suit's function as an everyday tool, lightening its social weight to turn it into a second skin. On the runway, the attitude changes completely. The models walk at an easy pace, hands sometimes in their pockets, without that stiff posture of traditional runway shows. The signature detail anchoring this silhouette is the systematic pairing of sharp tailoring with soft leather buckled mules. And honestly, visually, that's what keeps the silhouette from sliding into something too slouchy. It enforces a nonchalant and ultra-credible stride. But then, how is it possible to keep that allure without any rigid structure? That's where the work of duo Sam Cotton and Helen Holmes becomes fascinating. Everything seems to rest on an invisible deconstruction. Shoulders are softened, interlinings disappear. A three-button jacket from the 90s, unearthed from the archives, feels built around the movement of the body rather than imposing a shape onto it. The garment accompanies the body. It no longer constrains it. The color palette remains very soft, dominated by putty, sand, and terracotta tones. But it's the clash of materials that creates visual depth. We go from a 1996 utilitarian shirt in a cotton so silky, and washed it feels like it has already lived several lives, to ultra-organic textures. Puckered seersucker responds to tropical wool sourced from Scotland and Panama fabric. This is where you see the maturity of the collection. The light doesn't just slide dully over the fabric, it catches onto it. It gives real physical substance to garments that are otherwise extremely light. When you zoom in closer, the house's signature British eccentricity resurfaces. On crocodile effect jackets, cufflinks are replaced by green glass eyes. It's a direct nod to a whimsical detail originally designed by Paul Smith for David Bowie in 1982. You also find brooches and ornaments pinned randomly onto the lapels. Does this kind of playful sidestep win you over as much as it does me? It's that little twist that breaks up the overly classic spirit. The show is constructed like a vacation day moving forward, opening with field jackets in suede and black leather from the 1999 archives. Then the silhouettes lighten up all the way to the final climax, a masterful ensemble bringing together a matching trench coat, shirt, and striped shorts. The vintage motifs, recreated by master weavers in Como, sign off on an ultralight, graphic total look that packs a real visual punch. So of course we have to ask the question, do this ultralight wardrobe and these very loose cuts actually work once they step off the runway and out of the seaside atmosphere? For my part, I remain a little skeptical about real life. While the striped tailored shorts work perfectly under the Milanese sun or on a private beach, translating them into the reality of a daily urban routine remains a tough sell. We occasionally skirt the fine line between chic holiday wear and a stage costume. Ultimately, what stands out from this collection is its maturity. Paul Smith is no longer trying to prove his expertise, he is using it to tell an intimate, authentic story. This show marks a major milestone for the house. It proves that masculine elegance doesn't need barriers or rigidity to exist. Now it's your turn to tell me. Do you validate this return of the ultra-casual suit worn with mules? Or do you feel a suit absolutely must retain its original structure and sharpness to stay elegant? I'm looking forward to your strong opinions in the comments. Thank you for sharing this analytical moment with me. For your next viewings, train yourself to watch how the fabric of a jacket reacts when the model walks. That is where the entire secret of good tailoring hides. I wish you an excellent viewing for the rest of the show. We'll meet again very soon for a new analysis.